Hi, this is Debbie, and today I'm going to share with you a podcast that we did with some friends of mine that have their own bus too, and they live in New Zealand, and they made it from, well, they bought a bus and then, stripped it out and did it up. And I think you'll be interested in their story because it's a little bit about a love story as well, and I think you might be quite taken with the story, especially when you get to the apricots. So look out for those.
So get this, we're doing a deep dive into this couple that converted a school bus, into a mobile home.
Oh, wow.
I know, right? And our source material is this article titled Living the Dream. Geoff converted this 86 school bus into a home on wheels.
Okay.
And it's kind of this fun mix of like home renovation and travel and I guess a little bit of a love story too.
Oh, interesting.
So we're going to meet Geoff and Mary, who are the masterminds behind this whole rolling masterpiece, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Geoff is a luxury tour bus driver in New Zealand,
Mm-hmm.
which is interesting considering, all the stuff that's happened with the travel industry lately.
Yeah.
And then Mary is a retired teacher, and
Yeah.
she's super active in her community.
Nice.
So they met online about 4.5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And
This is going to be good.
Geoff offered Mary a box of apricots on their first date.
I know, right?
What? A box of apricots?
That was his first date gift.
Wow,
What a way to make a first impression. Yeah. That's something else. I've never heard of that before.
Me neither.
Okay.
You have to wonder if that's like a common thing in New Zealand.
Yeah.
Like, hey, do you want to go out on a date? I got apricots.
Yeah.
But, it speaks to his playful side a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit of that adventurous spirit that kind of led him to this whole bus thing.
I see.
So speaking of which, his dream to, convert a bus into a home actually started way back in 2012.
Oh, wow.
He helped a friend build 2 buses, like from scratch.
Really?
Yeah. And I guess he caught the conversion bug
Right.
and eventually bought his own bus, which he named My Caboose,
That's a great name.
for only $9,000.
Wow, that's a steal.
That's a great deal, right?
Especially for what it can become.
Yeah.
Yeah, like those tiny homes that become these really amazing, like, personalized spaces.
Exactly. And he's invested about $45,000 into it over the years,
Okay.
doing most of the work himself. Yeah. And he even built like this custom dining table out of native Rimu wood with like a hidden retractable flat screen TV.
Get out.
I know, talk about dinner and a show.
That's amazing.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's that attention to detail,
Yeah.
that often separates a good conversion from a great conversion.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's blended that luxury tour bus experience with like homey ingenuity.
Yeah, totally. But as with any renovation, I guess there were some bumps in the road.
I bet.
Can you imagine trying to make a home on like a cold, greasy blue plastic floor?
Oh, no.
Yeah, I mean, that was the reality that Geoff was facing. Like, not even just the aesthetics, but like the practical challenges of making that space livable.
Right.
So what kind of flooring do you think they ended up going with?
I don't know. What would you put in a bus? Some kind of wood.
Well, they went with carpet for the entrance and bedroom,
Okay.
and then vinyl plank flooring in the kitchen.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, sounds cozy, right?
Yeah.
But finding a tradesperson who was willing to actually work on a bus conversion, that was a challenge.
I bet.
A lot of them just weren't interested.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So that's where Mary's tech skills came in.
All right.
He found this online platform called Builder's Crack.
Builder's Crack.
Yeah. So I know the name's a little
Interesting.
right? But it was a lifesaver.
Okay.
They were surprised at how quickly they found someone, too.
Mm-hmm.
And they connected with this guy named Danny from 80 Construct Limited,
Okay.
who was not only professional and efficient, but he was actually impressed by the bus's unique design.
Really?
Yeah.
I wonder if he saw it as like a creative challenge.
I think so.
Like excited to be part of something so different.
Yeah, definitely.
Huh.
And get this, he even went above and beyond to like problem solve on the fly.
Oh, that's great.
So like when he realized the toilet door wouldn't clear the floor,
Oh.
he just like whipped it off and trimmed it down.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That tells you a lot about his work ethic.
Yeah.
And his adaptability.
Totally.
It's not just following a blueprint. It's about thinking creatively and finding solutions,
Mm-hmm.
especially in a project like this.
Yeah.
Those skills are so valuable.
So now with travel restrictions easing up, Geoff and Mary are free to hit the road in their mobile home.
That's awesome.
Can you imagine that sense of freedom they must be feeling?
I can only imagine.
They're especially excited about visiting friends and exploring new places on their own time.
Makes you think, huh,
It does.
what does living the dream really look like?
Yeah, is it about freedom or exploration or connection or something else entirely?
Right.
So before we get too philosophical here, let's talk about my caboose itself.
Okay.
Remember how Geoff chose that name even before he bought the bus?
Yeah, that's pretty wild.
It is, right?
It's like he was manifesting this dream,
Yeah.
calling it into being before he even had the bus.
I know, it adds this whole other layer to the story, doesn't it?
It does.
It makes you wonder about his mindset back then and what that name represented for him.
Yeah, it's like he was planting a seed, and over time, he nurtured it into this reality.
Mm-hmm.
And that speaks volumes about his determination and his vision.
He really does.
Yeah. Yeah, it really makes you think about, like, the power of intention.
Totally.
Maybe we all have these cabooses out there,
Right.
just waiting to be discovered if we just, like, give them a name and start building.
I love that. And speaking of building, the article mentions this detail that I found super fascinating.
Okay.
So when Geoff was gutting the bus, one of the first things he did was rip out all the original seats.
Wow.
Can you imagine the effort involved?
Oh, my gosh, yeah.
It wasn't just like unscrewing a few bolts, you know? It
Yeah.
was like this symbolic act of transformation.
You're right. It was a declaration of intent. Like, he was stripping away the bus's past identity as a people mover.
Yeah.
And just creating this blank canvas for his own vision.
And what a vision it was.
Yeah.
The article goes on to describe some of the bus's features, and I have to say, Geoff really thought of everything.
Like what?
Solar panels for off-grid living diesel heating for those chilly New Zealand nights. A washing machine. They even have that retractable TV in the dining table.
Oh, yeah.
I know.
It's like he combined the ruggedness of a camper van with the comforts of a modern apartment.
Right.
It really challenges the notion that home has to be a fixed location.
Exactly. And speaking of home, I was really intrigued by Mary's perspective on this whole adventure. She mentioned that she's excited about the freedom to travel and visit friends, including a former student of hers.
Oh, that's so sweet.
It is, right? Even in this nomadic lifestyle, she's maintaining those connections.
Yeah.
It suggests that for Mary, home is less about the physical space and more about the people she shares it with.
That's a beautiful way to put it.
So what do you think their day-to-day life will actually be like on the road?
I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, what kind of adventures will they have? What challenges will they face?
Yeah, that's where I think the real story begins.
Right.
The conversion is just the first chapter. Now it's about, like, experiencing that freedom, the spontaneity, and, like, all the unexpected detours that life on the road brings.
Totally. It's like they've built themselves this vessel for adventure.
Yeah.
And now they're just setting sail into the unknown.
Right.
And I have a feeling they're going to discover so much more than just new destinations.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think they'll discover new facets of themselves, new ways of relating to each other, a deeper appreciation for the simple joys of life. When you're living in a space as intimate as a converted bus,
Yeah.
you can't help but be present in the moment.
That's true. And that brings us back to that article title, Living the Dream.
Right.
It's easy to romanticize life on the road,
Yeah,
but there must be challenges too. So
definitely.
what do you think those might be?
Well, practical things for sure,
Yeah.
like maintenance, finding suitable campsites,
Yeah.
navigating unfamiliar roads. But I think the bigger challenge might be managing expectations.
Oh, that's interesting.
The reality of van life, even in a tricked-out bus like my caboose, is probably a lot different than that idealized version we see on social media.
That's a good point. It's easy to get caught up in the aesthetics and forget that it's still a life that requires effort, adaptation, and a bit of problem solving.
Totally remember that whole flooring situation.
Oh, yeah. And that's where I think their experience with Builder's Crack might come in handy again.
Right.
It's not just about finding a tradesperson.
Yeah.
It's about accessing a community of people who are familiar with these unconventional projects and willing to think outside the box.
Yeah, it's like having a support network
Yeah.
for all those unexpected challenges that are bound to come up on the road.
And speaking of support, I'm curious about the role that Mary's tech savviness played in this whole project.
Oh, yeah.
It seems like she was really instrumental in finding solutions and connecting with resources.
I think it highlights the importance of having, like, a diverse skill set,
Yeah.
especially when you're taking on something as ambitious as a bus conversion.
Right.
It's not just about hammering and sawing. It's also about research and planning and leveraging technology.
Yeah. And in a world that's becoming increasingly digital, those skills are more valuable than ever.
For sure.
It's not just about finding a tradesperson on Builderscrack.
Right.
It's about navigating online forums, researching DIY solutions, and staying connected with a community of like-minded people.
Exactly. And let's not forget about Mary's teaching background.
Oh, yeah.
I could totally see her using those skills to connect with local communities,
Uh-huh.
share stories, and maybe even offer workshops or classes along the way.
That's such a cool idea.
Yeah.
It's like their individual skills and passions are weaving together to create this tapestry of experience. And as they travel, they'll continue to learn and grow both individually and as a couple.
And who knows, maybe their journey will inspire other people to take similar leaps of faith.
Right.
Perhaps their story will spark a movement of people converting school buses and reclaiming public spaces and creating their own mobile communities.
Yeah. That's a beautiful vision.
It speaks to the ripple effect that one couple's dream can have on the world.
It really does. But before we get too carried away with future possibilities, let's circle back to the present moment.
Okay.
Remember how Geoff described that original bus floor as being cold, dirty, and greasy?
Oh, yeah. I can't imagine it now.
It's hard to picture the bus in its original state.
It really is. The transformation is so complete.
And I think that's what makes this story so inspiring. It's a reminder that even the most unassuming objects, the things we often overlook or discard, can be transformed into something beautiful and meaningful.
It's like a metaphor for life itself.
It is.
We all have the potential to transform ourselves, to shed old identities.
Yeah.
And to create something new and extraordinary out of what we've been given.
And sometimes all it takes is a little vision, a lot of elbow grease, and maybe a box of apricots to set those wheels in motion.
Maybe that's the secret ingredient, apricots.
Yeah. It's amazing how this school bus conversion, sparks all these thoughts about transformation and potential.
Right. It really speaks to that desire we have to kind of break free from conventions.
Yeah.
And create something unique for ourselves.
Totally. And find a space that truly reflects, who we are.
Yeah. And in a world that often feels like so mass-produced and homogenous, those impulses are more vital than ever.
Yeah, I think there's a real beauty in seeing something as ordinary as a school bus turned into a vessel for dreams.
Right.
It reminds us that we don't need extravagant resources or grand gestures to live a fulfilling life. Sometimes it's about repurposing what we already have, finding those creative solutions and embracing the unexpected.
It makes me think about the broader implications of platforms like Builderscrack.
Oh, yeah.
It's not just about connecting homeowners with tradespeople.
Right.
It's about fostering a community of people who are passionate about creating and building and reimagining spaces.
Totally a digital marketplace for innovation, where unconventional ideas can flourish and find support.
Right. And it challenges that traditional notion of what a job even looks like.
This does.
Maybe the future of work is less about fitting into these predefined roles and more about embracing our unique skills and passions, even if they seem a little outside the box.
Right.
And maybe this school bus conversion movement is like a sign of things to come.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Maybe we'll see more people repurposing unconventional spaces, embracing mobile living, creating their own micro-communities on wheels.
It's an exciting thought.
It is. Imagine a world where our homes are not just static structures.
Right.
But extensions of our personalities, our values, our desire to explore.
Remember how Mary talked about visiting her former student?
Yeah, it makes you wonder about all the connections and opportunities that might emerge from this lifestyle.
Maybe they'll cross paths with artists, musicians, entrepreneurs who are also embracing these alternative ways of living and working.
Yeah, it's like they're not just traveling through physical landscapes.
Right.
But through a network of human experiences and shared passions.
And who knows, maybe they'll even inspire others to embark on their own unconventional journeys.
Exactly. I think their story is a powerful reminder that it's never too late to chase a dream, to reinvent yourself, and to find joy in the unexpected.
And as we wrap up this deep dive, I'm left with this sense of wonder and possibility. Geoff and Mary's story is a testament to the human spirit,
Right.
The resilience, the creativity, the capacity for transformation.
It's inspiring.
It is. It's a reminder that we all have the power to shape our own destinies.
Yeah.
To create lives that are both meaningful and adventurous.
So as you go about your day, keep Geoff and Mary's story in mind.
Yeah.
What seemingly ordinary spaces could you transform?
Right.
What dreams have you been putting off?
Mm-hmm.
What steps can you take today to start living the dream, whatever that may look like for you? Yeah. Remember, life is a journey, and sometimes the most rewarding destinations are the ones we create ourselves.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that story. I did. I watched it a few times myself, and I've read their article, and it's so exciting. I will leave the website down in the descriptions area so that you can click on it yourself and read the article yourself. But we have an exciting life as bus owners and caravan owners, and on the road. I mean, Keith and I don't go on the road because of both of our cancers. We've had to stay by the hospital and the doctors, but Andy also works. But there are a lot of people that go all over the place. I mean, we have people coming in and out of here, this camp, every other night also, and some of them stay for ages and some of them go the very next morning because we're right by the ferry. Plus, we take dogs and cats and animals. I mean, we haven't seen anyone with an elephant here yet, but hey, who knows? Anyway, so we are not far from the ferry, so people can stay here overnight and get off early in the morning so they can be parked up ready to be accepted into the ship. And, yeah, we do. We all have an exciting life. We all lead our own lives. Well, like me, I do a lot of things myself. Church is a big thing for me. My writing's a big thing for me. And now maintaining YouTube channels is a big thing for me. I don't get much housework done. My husband does all that. Actually, I'm very, very lucky over all the duties because I could hardly crawl out of bed. The chemo was very strong and affected me badly. Radiation made me very, very tired. And of course the surgeries took a while to heal. So I'm very, very lucky, and my husband's looked after me ever since. But I see now he's given me back the dishes. And so I have to do those every day. But that's okay. Hey, it's not much to do, really. And I need to keep those baking vessels up there filled a bit more. Anyway, so enjoy what you've just read and seen and listened to. And click on the link in the last frame and find a surprise there. Okay, see you next time. Bye.